Is ridiculously awesome. This thing is like an accident waiting to happen.
This is ridiculous. My turn?
It's your turn, you can go.
Let's go. I'm gonna race the golf cart, okay?
Okay.
Alright, once they pass me, I'm gonna go catch up with them.
Okay. Go get him, buddy! Go get him!
So what's the deal with the cooler? Well, we don't get a lot of mail because we're constantly traveling. This showed up the other day because we've been at Just Cats in service for so long, so it just literally makes you laugh. It makes you smile. Everybody that sees it, every time you hop on it, and sadly, it's not gonna work on the boat.
Yeah.
So we're getting our last little bit out of it.
He's so gonna kill himself.
I think we're gonna give it away to our patrons first. If they don't want it, then somebody in Florida is gonna be lucky. We do not take responsibility if you kill yourself.
We are officially done with service, so we are packing it up and we're heading out for like 2 months before we come back for our final little tweak before we head off to the Bahamas. So we're saying goodbye to our car, which Just Catamarans purchased. Turned into their little driving courtesy car. We're saying goodbye to the cooler because while it's awesome, it makes everybody laugh, and you can't help but giggle while riding it, it's not practical for a boat. It's too heavy, takes up space. Space is valuable. But Burning Man, tailgating, concerts, festivals, parades, it would be awesome, but not in a boat. Here on the dock even, if you were a dockie, this would be kind of a really fun way to take out your trash and go to the grocery store and be really ridiculous. But yeah, so time to go
Pull the plug.
unplug. Alright, we're off back here. Street Bridge. This is northbound sailing Catamaran Curiosity requesting your next opening. Over. 17th Street Bridge. This is northbound sailing Catamaran Curiosity.
This is 17th Street. I responded to you. My opening is at 2 o'clock. Do you copy?
Copy that, Captain. Thank you very much for opening, Captain. Have a great day.
You're very welcome. Caution, 17th Street span, now lowering.
We didn't make it very far today. We actually only made it to Lake Sylvia, which is just a couple nautical miles away from the marina.
Yes, but we had to shove off of that dock, get out of that marina. Couldn't take it anymore. No. But it's because we were also done with service, so it was time to leave. We didn't go very far because we knew there was going to be crappy thunderstorms this afternoon.
As you can see behind us, it's raining all around.
They showed up.
All the wounds are fresh. We just pushed off the dock, obviously, and we need to tell ourselves the lessons that we learned from being in service, and we thought we should share it with you.
Yep. We purchased the boat
a little over 3 months ago.
Yeah. So we've had the boat for 3 months, and during that time frame, we have been in and out of service for a total of 45 days.
Ouch. Half and half the time we spent actually working ourselves, learning and moving in and organizing and all that.
And also, working on projects ourselves with
Kent.
Kent. Yeah, because he helped us.
Educate us on servicing engines and a lot of the little things we'll need to know for the future.
Right.
And the other half of the time, we had people on our boat
Yes. working.
Service people at $95 an hour.
Which adds up to a freaking boatload.
Yeah. But
literally.
Literally.
Sorry.
The first thing we want to talk about is dockage.
Yes.
Coming from the RV world, when you go in for service, you have this free pedestal to plug into. You've got unlimited water, a dump station.
Not everywhere, but at a lot of the really nice service places, they do. And so it's like essentially
it's like
a
free
little
camping.
campground.
Yeah, it's free camping and it's free.
Yeah, but even when you are somewhere that's maybe a smaller service shop or place, they still will let you stay either in the parking lot and just dry camp or whatever, and there's no charge. So we've never had to pay
while getting service.
I'll pay for the stay while being worked on.
So that's something that just came way out of left field. I don't know why we didn't think about it. Or
you're still at a marina. It makes sense, but it just was something we didn't ever put two and two together. So we never anticipated while being in service also having dockage fees. Yeah. It was just new.
Yeah, and it's $65 a day for a boat our size. Yeah. Being there for 45 days, it really adds up.
Yes. Now, granted, because we were there for such
so long.
I mean, it was off and on, but even still, overall it was a lot of days, 45. So they did give us a little bit of a break on our dockage for being there so long, but it's
a lot of money.
It's still a lot of money. Estimates. Get an estimate for the work.
Jeez, it's so easy. Somebody's working on your boat and you see something, you notice this little thing, you're like, hey, can you fix that little thing?
Yeah, is this fixable or is this something we could do?
And their answer is, sure, no problem. Duh. Well, why didn't I think they're going to charge me for said little thing that...
But you knew they were. You just thought, oh, you can fix this little thing? Oh, it won't take that long?
Oh, it's a little thing. Yeah, and sure enough, the little thing turns into a 4-hour project at $95 an hour. It's now a $400 little thing.
You're all, I wasn't expecting that.
No. So in the moment, getting the big estimate in the beginning is obviously important, but in the moment, if you see something, if you notice something, and I'm talking to myself here, Jason, if you notice something on the boat that needs to be fixed, you say, hey, can you fix this? And yes, you can? Okay, give me an estimate.
Yeah. Don't say, okay, great, fix that, which is, we had a real habit of doing that. It's amazing how all those little things tallied up to be quite a big portion of our bill, and had we looked at it on paper and seen what those things were going to cost, there's a lot of them we would have scratched off.
Yeah.
Or we would have said, oh, it's not that
important. I think we could
important.
do that ourselves later on, or it can wait another 6 months or a year.
Right, or until we feel comfortable doing it ourselves, whatever. It didn't need to be done in the moment, and most certainly not always for the price that it was going to cost. So, but that was, just don't jump the gun. Get an estimate, look at it on paper, make a decision.
Exactly. Get it in writing. Estimates are good.
And that seems like, when I say it now, you think,
like
well,
no-brainer 101.
Dummy,
yeah.
Why wouldn't you do that? But it's just, I'm
just
telling
happens.
you, when you get going,
Snowballs.
you think, oh, it's,
Snowballs.
oh, there's this little thing. Well, crap, they took that panel off, and now I'm noticing this.
That's it for estimates. Thank you.
Yes.
Could go on forever.
Estimates are really important. Look at all the items.
Obviously, it's a big one. Yeah. Next one is time frame.
Yes. Once you've gotten your estimate, you're going to ask the question, okay, how long do you think is it going to take to do all of these things? And they're going to give you an answer of a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever.
Yeah. Whatever they say, double it.
If you want to be only semi-disappointed.
Yeah.
Triple it if you want to actually be
happy when
reasonable.
You leave maybe a little early, maybe, if you're lucky. But the same goes for work on a house, specialty work on a car, like when we had the 1985 Volkswagen camper van. Like
that thing was the same.
Yeah, it would take weeks.
Yeah.
And they would say it would take days. It would take weeks. So.
And same thing on RVs.
Yeah.
You know, they think, oh yeah, it won't take us long to do that. But there's so many unknown variables when you get into something like this. It's not like the same production Toyota that everybody has exactly the same car. Each one is unique. They change them every freaking year. And there's only a few built. I mean, there
was like 15 or something made that are exactly like ours. So when they dive into something, they might assume it has XYZ, but it really has ABC.
Right. So what happens is they get into a project, and then for example, our engine. It was just supposed to be a simple project. Then we had a clogged heat exchanger.
I had to remove the heat exchanger. Then we had to order new parts for the heat exchanger.
And then, of course, they weren't standard parts. They had to be ordered.
Special ordered. So there goes another 3 days. And then they get everything back on. Still not working right. Oh, we have this other issue. And
yeah, so what was only supposed to be a couple of hours turns into like 6 or 8.
Yeah.
So it adds up quickly, and it's not anything that anybody did wrong. It's just unknown variables, and crap happens.
Yep.
So, time frame. Always expect
double or triple.
triple the amount of time. If you do that, you won't be frustrated with how long it's taking. Or
Although you will be frustrated because when they're not on your boat and you're paying $65 a day to be in a marina you don't want to be in.
You're like, snap, boys, what are you waiting on? They're like, parts.
And then the weekend comes and then you're really frustrated because you really, really don't want to pay 65 times 3 for Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Now I realize we don't like being in a marina. There are plenty of people to be fine to sit there.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. It was just particularly frustrating for us. Mostly because of money.
And bugs.
And the bugs. Money. So when we got the final bill for all this work that we've had done, it hurt.
It hurts.
A lot.
Hurts. A lot more than we expected. And probably because we blew the budget on the boat and we thought the boat was in really good condition, and it was in really good condition.
It is in good condition.
But it's still 11 years old, and there's always 10 years old. They say so much of the stuff needs to be replaced, and that's kind of where we are now.
Yeah, you've got the 5-year mark where a lot has to be replaced, but then the 10-year mark, it starts to come up on some of your big stuff, like rigging, which we knew we had a lot of these items assessed, and that is what we were getting worked on, was all stuff that was from the survey. So we did have an idea of what all of this was going to cost. We had gotten the numbers then.
It was just more expensive because we added more things to it.
Yeah, and we did several, start piling on solar install and a new dinghy davit system that we weren't going to initially do. And then
the batteries and the composting toilets. And it just, the list goes on, and all the little fiberglass work that we noticed, holes in the boat everywhere that needed to be cleaned up.
Right, and we're not talking big holes, but it's like little stuff that you still need to have
fixed.
taken care of. So it all adds up, and it gets expensive. And
we came up with a value of per day. If you have someone on your boat, you can expect a service person. If you have a service person on your boat, you can expect to spend $1,000 a day. Because the going rate here in Fort Lauderdale is $95 an hour. Other places,
although a lot of places we called around where Just Cats is actually pretty reasonable at $95 an hour.
Some are $120 an hour.
$140 an hour. It got really expensive at some of the places, so definitely call around and get your quotes.
But if you have a service person on your boat for a day of work, it's 6 hours of work. That's $600 plus if they're installing a part, plus your dockage.
Yeah, so it adds up.
And then you get into something really extreme or heavy, like the davit system or the solar, and now you're hiring a specialist to do metal work, and you're hiring 2 or 3 people to actually hold the system up and put it together. Woohoo! It
adds up really quick. If you're trying to plan on a budget and wanting to know what to expect, that's
just general work. We're assuming $1,000 a day is what we're going to tell ourselves from now on.
Yep.
Ouch.
Which means we won't be getting anything done.
Yeah.
Because we now have no more money. Sorry, the cost thing is still fresh. It's fresh wound.
It hurts. It hurts. And just, Anyway, we'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Keeping a clean boat. Ooh. Ouch.
Yes. So it
Nazi Nikki. And I mean that in the nicest way, honey.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I am a little bit of a...
Crazy.
Yeah.
When you scrub the boat for 8 hours on a Saturday, so you can get it cleaned up for the weekend.
And then everybody comes in on Monday and trashes it right back out. I mean, I understand they have a job to do. And it is a working dock. The docks are dirty.
There's bottom paint happening just 100 feet away.
Right, so I mean, there's overspray. There's the planes that are going by, so you're getting all this black soot and dust that actually just drops down from the air. So it is a dirty place to be, even if you weren't having your boat worked on. So then having guys walking on the docks and then coming on your boat, there are black footprints everywhere. It's unavoidable. It's not something they're doing necessarily wrong. It's just a dirty place.
Most people drop off their boat for the season, or the people here in Fort Lauderdale at least. Most of the boats that came in, people would drop them off and they would come back.
Yeah, so they weren't there, and whenever they show up, once they're done,
once the service is done, Just Cats will clean it very well, which is nice, but they say, because we're at liveaboards, it's different.
Well, because they're
Yeah.
always working, they can't clean it every single Friday. Completely understandable. But, so you're living through all these people traipsing around your boat. There's tools everywhere. So
Dirt,
everything's a
gross.
hot
Yeah.
mess all the time. So you have to kind of just live through it. And then at the end, plan on spending several days
Several.
cleaning
Cleaning,
the boat.
scrubbing, waxing, polishing.
Yeah, because
everything.
it will need it
Yeah.
after that.
Yeah, especially when you're there for as long as we were. The only solution we found in our heads, we thought, okay, we need to go on Amazon and order the little booty covers.
Yeah.
And make people put on the new booty covers.
Every single time they come on the
Yeah,
boat.
yeah, and get some rugs and some nice big blankets so you can put it on top of like the table per se, and anywhere they're gonna put tools.
Right. So, but you'd have to go really
Yeah.
overkill with like the tarps and everything else.
Yeah.
But really, at the end of the day, just let it get dirty and
Suck
plan
it
on
up.
cleaning it at the end. And it is what it is. But I did not expect that. I mean, when you take your RV, or when we took our RV in for service, it would get dirty too.
Yeah.
And they had greasy feet and hands and everything else. They're working.
Yeah.
I totally get it. I just really, at a working dock and a marina,
It's a lot worse.
it's worse. It's real dirty.
Yeah.
Bottom paint is nasty stuff.
Yeah.
We got educated.
Educated.
We were there and we spent a lot of money, and some of the parts were frustrating, mostly really just due to money. But now that we've complained a lot, there were a few upsides.
Yes.
One of them being education.
Education. The technicians there, I think just generally in the boat world, from everybody we've met, they said the service techs usually want to help you because when you're out in the middle of nowhere, you need to know how to fix the part that you're paying them to fix, in theory. So, especially at Just Cats, they would sit down with us and they would be deep in an engine, and I'd go, hey, what are you doing?
Right. What are you working on there? Okay, well, it was clogged. Well, how would I fix that if that happens again? And they would go through the whole
Yeah.
thing and explain it. And they'd be like, oh, well, and check your temperature gauge. And I'd
Yeah.
say, well, how do you do that? And he'd be like, well, let's just take it off real quick and I'll show you. I mean,
It was like a crash course in service, engine work, diesel work, generators, polish.
Yeah. So all those people that just drop their boat off and leave it,
They don't get that education.
they don't get that education. So for me, I thought, heck no, if you're going to be paying all this money, you need to be there.
Yeah.
Use it as a learning experience. And that's exactly what we did. And I felt like, if anything, there's no way we could have taken a mechanical class and learned what we learned.
No.
I learned more in that time frame of getting service done and working there with them side by side, or watching what they were doing the whole time and asking questions.
Yeah, and people talked about taking a class. I guess there's classes you can take about
Yeah.
like boat maintenance and engine maintenance and this and that, and we
Specifically on like the Yanmar engines.
so
Yeah.
we got that on our boat from several different technicians, and that was worth the price. College is expensive and everything, so education
Yeah.
is expensive. Worth the price. Yeah.
We didn't have any sort of mechanical, bits and
This much,
pieces.
yeah.
Yeah.
But now we have this much.
Yeah. So are we experts?
No.
But we learned a lot, and it built our confidence in being able to get down in there and take something apart and not be afraid to do it, worried that we wouldn't be able to put it back together.
Yeah. So yeah, crash course education. It was great.
And I think that was the extent of the upside of service.
Yeah.
Well, and then getting your boat done. So we
Yes.
have all these little items that would have taken us
Years to complete, and now it's been crammed into a couple months.
right. So, but now we feel like we've got a really solid boat that is ready to go, which we needed because our confidence level isn't that high yet as sailors. We're still learning, so we knew we wanted our boat in ship shape.
Ship shape to get gone.
Yes.
And now we feel confident, and if we didn't feel confident, it wouldn't matter because we couldn't afford to stay there any longer. So-
We're at the cap.
We are confident.
Yes. But the good thing is it's done.
done.
We've got 2 months before we go back in, and we're ready for our shakedown cruise.
Yes, a shakedown cruise. We're staying close to land. We're just gonna go to the Keys. We're gonna
Do some
cruise
coastal
along,
cruising, yeah.
find some anchoring spots, shoot some cool videos, maybe get out the drone for once, because that's something we've been
Fun.
scared to do.
Yeah. There's something about all the wind and water that
Yeah.
makes you not want to.
Yeah. Especially we're not really
Centered.
good drone flyers in the first place.
Right. Land was not so bad. Water is a little sketchy,
Oh, yeah.
but
Yeah.
we're going to build our confidence in that too.
Exactly. But we're staying close. We've always recommended people in the RV industry to take a shakedown trip and just go a couple hundred miles and stay close where you can be towed in. And we do have we have Boat US.
Yeah.
We have Boat US that's good for the Bahamas and everything, so we are staying close to land.
We're taking our own advice and doing the shakedown trip and making sure that everything we've just worked on works.
Holds together.
Right, and if something doesn't work and we broke something,
We'll
in the
complain
process
about
of
it, and maybe they'll
fixing
fix it for free, which I doubt.
No, we will fix it ourselves.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
So that is the point now. But we will come back, tweak anything that needs to be tweaked, and then off we go.
Off we go. Off to the Bahamas.
And then from there, who knows?
Who knows? We're getting kicked out of Florida October 22nd, so who knows?
And by kicked out, we mean we're not
Tax purposes.
tax purposes, right?
Yes.
We did not register the boat in the state of Florida, therefore we can only stay here for a certain amount of time before we have to get the hay out.
Yeah, yeah. But overall, the experience was good. We enjoyed the people at Just Cats, the service technicians, all the way up to
Yeah.
the boss man's.
Had we really fully understood what we were getting ourselves into as far as how long everything was going to take, how expensive everything was going to be, then I think it would have been a little less stressful.
Yeah, a lot less stressful.
Yeah.
And we wouldn't have been stuck there as long because we wouldn't have keep adding little things.
To the list, yeah, we would have taken a lot of the items, I think, off.
Yeah.
And that was another thing with the estimates and looking at everything on paper and really thinking, what do you truly want to get fixed on your boat?
But we're super stoked to
We
get
had
out.
2 months
Two
of
months.
just cruising and no marinas. That's the goal. We're not going to touch one dock, except for with the dinghy to go in. But
Yeah.
this boat will be anchored for 2 months.
And sail as much as possible and learn and practice. It's
Yes.
going to be great. We love it. we love
Fishing
being
and
out here.
snorkeling
Yeah,
and
it's
the
just
sailing.
wonderful.
Yeah. So that
That's
part
it.
is good.
I thought I was going to say something really good. I had this thing in my head that I
You
was gonna
did?
say.
Like something you were going to share about?
Like it was part of the end that was going to be really good. But I guess
You had a brilliant idea and now
I
it's
did.
gone?
Yep.
I have about a million of those at home.
Oh well. I swear.
Well, that's a really bummer note to leave everybody on.